So first thing is we're going to go ahead and get on all fours. And let's try to make sure I'm all centered here. Okay, so we're going to begin with cat-cow. And cat-cow, if you don't know what it is, basically just, it's like spinal flexion, basically. So I'm just going to take and do this like an angry cat, hence the cat part of the name. So just get your back nice and arched. Breathe, and then I'm going to go ahead and do the cow part, where you have, I've heard it described as basically a bowl of soup in your back. And you don't have to do it super slow. You could, go a little quicker, like I just kind of sped up a tiny bit, since you get the idea. But just don't be doing, like, this kind of crazy stuff. Anyway, so I'm gonna come back to cow, and then let's go back to neutral, okay? And then let's go ahead and go into child's pose. So you're just gonna put your hands out, like I just did here, and sink back. And you should feel a nice stretch, specifically through the upper and mid back. If you can, oh wow, I can feel that a lot. My arms are kind of having a hard time with that. If you can, put your head on the mat, but it actually doesn't feel good, so I'm just going to come to about here. That actually is making me a little lightheaded for some reason, so, whew, wow. I can really feel that in my back. You don't have to sink back super deep if you can't do that. So if you need to, sit up a little bit, that's fine. Or if you would like to put perhaps a pillow underneath your behind, that's perfectly fine too, to kind of give yourself a little bit of leverage for this movement. But this is basically the movement. Not really doing much of anything, you're just kind of letting it happen. It's a passive stretch. Okay. Go ahead and come out of that, and go ahead and come back to center again. My hair is, as you can probably tell, it's quite a bit shorter, and it's kind of on my face a little bit right now. Anyway, so come back to center, and then we're going to just go ahead and gently come into upward dog. So upward dog basically looks, well, something like this. I am not a trained yogi, so I might be kind of butchering these movements a tiny bit, but as far as I can recall, it looks something like this. Wow, and the front of my hips are very clearly tight because I feel it a lot. I also feel it a lot through my middle, which is what it's intended for, is to stretch your core and your hip flexors in that whole area, which is why I think it's very important to do stretches like this, especially after you've had a little bit of time to recover from, say, hip surgery, and because your hip flexors can get extremely tight after that kind of thing. I mean, for me, they definitely did, and I just craved something to kind of counter the tightness. This is kind of I don't know what you call it, a strength kind of pose though as well, so you're gonna feel it in your shoulders. As nice as it feels on my middle, I am definitely starting to feel it through my shoulders a bit, so I'm gonna go ahead and come back into child's pose again. So this time doing child's pose, I can get my head to the mat and it doesn't feel so bad. Okay. And let's come back to center again. Back up. Okay, so now we're going to do, I guess you call it another cat-cow. It's a variation though that I have seen, and it's really, really good though for opening up all your major kind of joints. So you're gonna go ahead and take your legs in this kind of V shape, wrists nice and solid under your shoulders, and then I'm going to do this really interesting kind of sweeping thing. Come around in a circle, going one way and we'll go the other way. But it feels really good. 3, I think. Let's do 4 on each side. So 4, and then we're gonna go the other way. So 1, 2, and that should be 4, I believe. That felt nice. And then you also can do a variation of child's pose where you keep the legs kind of open. This is for the inner thighs, hips kind of area. So we're just going to, you could just sit like this if it's a little bit difficult to do this pose, this variation, or you can once again come down. I have to bend my arms for this. Ooh, I feel that. You're feeling your hips and your inner thighs significantly more if you do this. Alright, and then I'm gonna go ahead and come back. So for our final pose, I'm actually going to lean against this wall because my feet were getting cut off in the frame. So we're just going to take and do Cobblers Pose. If you are familiar with it, this is at least similar to what it looks like. And some people can get their legs in like right here, really close in, but honestly, I cannot do that. That does not feel nice for me. Just do it as far as is comfortable, but this is an excellent pose for opening up the hips, which are probably very tight after your surgery or surgeries. So I'm just gonna sit here and make sure your back is nice and kind of tall and straight. What we can do though, so begin with a straight back, and then you can kind of come forward, but once again, keep the back as straight as you kind of can get it. But I know there's a tendency to kind of like round, and even now I'm like trying to fight that tendency to do that. But just come, if you can handle it, just come forward like this, and to see what your body will allow. And with more time, generally you'll be able to get a better, deeper stretch. I'm gonna take my feet out just a little bit more because I think I'm too close in my case. Okay. I don't think my hips are going to allow me to go much further than this right now. But this will add a nice stretch to your back as well, and it'll make the hip stretch more intense as well. You can also take and put your elbows on your knees and kind of push everything down. But honestly, I don't know that I'm feeling that. It's just an option though, if you would like to try that, and it's safe to try that. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and come out of that and just come back to where I was before, sitting nice and tall. Please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell if you do subscribe so you're notified whenever I put out a new video, or just keep checking back because I post videos every single week. And speedy recovery, and I will see you on the next video. Bye!